Hey guys, Micah from blackbearcustomkydex. I have a bunch of little push daggers and a small EDC knife to show you, and these are for 4 different customers. So these are going to Tyler, Gene, Robert, and Eric. I don't remember where you're all at, but I'll give you the shout out when your sheath comes up. So, all right, let's start with Gene. So Gene sent me a couple of Cold Steel Safe Maker 2s, and he asked for some black sheaths that could ride on a tech lock. And of course you can change the angle on this tech lock. You can make it cant for about a 45-degree angle, and obviously you can carry it horizontally if you can carry it vertically. So we got 2 of these. Just to show you the retention, I literally just learned this a few minutes ago. When I have a total of 4 Safe Maker 2s here to show you. And so Gene's are in VG10 and Eric's are going to be in AUS 8. And I didn't realize that Cold Steel is pretty inconsistent between size of the knife per blade steel. It's like the overall dimensions are pretty much the same, but there's like a difference in thickness or something. So I had tried one blade steel in the other sheath that I'd made for the other blade steel, and it was a no-go. So the VG10 feels like it's a little bit more stout, and therefore it doesn't really fit in the sheets that I made for the AUS 8. So anyway, that having been said, they're also a little bit inconsistent between their own blade steels. So like these 2 are VG10. They were both molded on VG10 knives, but they don't fit one another perfectly. So you might want to just mess around with that a little bit, Gene, and see, you know, which fit you like better for which knife. But I'll send them to you in the ones that they were molded for, so it should be correct. But anyway, you can hear a little click when it goes in, and it's got a bit of resistance, but it's a grip it and rip it style sheath. Obviously, there's no thumb ramp or anything like that. I have found that you can just kind of throw your fingers forward like that and push the sheath off. I don't think it serves any real major function, but you can do that. Just be careful. You know, if you go a little bit too far up onto that corner, it's a little bit sharp, and obviously if you go down further, you got a blade to contend with. So you probably don't want to bother doing that. But just so you know, that is kind of technically an option. It makes it easier to draw out. So if you wanted to like start it that way and then pull it, that might be a good option. So all right, that's one. And then his other, just to show you, his other one right here, and this one actually doesn't click in. I really sincerely couldn't get it to click in, but when it's seated in there, it's got excellent retention. There's no rattle, no play. It feels great. The draw is super smooth. It just doesn't click going in. So you just push it until it bottoms out, and that's that. All right, so those are for Gene. Let's jump over to, let's look at the other 2 Safe Makers. So we got another one in black, and these are for Eric. So we got, these are AUS 8. He asked for one just like this. This one doesn't really click in either. It just kind of swooshes in and has a really good retention once it's in there. And then the other sheath that he asked for, this is the first time I've done this. It was pretty cool, and it didn't come out exactly as we had planned, but I think it came out really nice. So he had asked for a sheath that could carry both of his Safe Makers and have them facing opposite directions. So I was pretty surprised with doing everything by hand and not having any kind of like template, that I was able to get it. I think they're just about perfectly aligned. So it was kind of a fun project, and the original idea that we had was that it would be, so we have Cryptek Neptune separated by a layer of black, and I actually ended up using black Raptor, so you can just see the tiniest little bit of the Raptor up near the handle on the back of each sheath. But I had originally suggested that I make 2 sheaths, put them back to back, and rivet them together, and he had said, I'd really like it to be one sheath with, the layer, just a layer in between to separate the 2 knives. So I did try that, and I tried it a few times, and I just couldn't get it to work quite the right way, because the back of the knife is just ever so slightly molded. And the other issue that I didn't think about at the time when we discussed it was that Kydex only has one smooth side and one textured side. So you wind up with one knife is rubbing against the texture, and it's just not going to draw as smoothly. It's going to get a little bit gritty in there. Eventually it'll probably start scratching your blade. So what I ended up doing was I did what I originally suggested, sort of. I molded two separate sheaths with a front and a back. I put the flat backs together facing opposite directions, and then I actually pinched them together while drilling through them so that I'd keep good pressure against them, riveted them, and then sanded them. So it still didn't come out quite perfect. You can see the seam. I was really hoping to totally hide that seam. So hopefully you can see on that glint that there is a seam down the middle of it. But it's super smooth. I think it still came out looking really nice. And it works really well. So it's a pretty cool idea. I never really thought to do something like that. But anyway, it all rides on a tech lock. And obviously you'd wear it horizontally somewhere on your belt. You could wear it in the small of your back, something like that. And the idea is probably that you would be able to just draw both knives simultaneously. They both draw pretty easily. The only issue is obviously one is always going to be slightly stronger than the other. So they're not, if you're just holding it in hand, you're not going to get them both to come out. It doesn't work like that. But obviously when it's tethered to your belt or anchored on your belt with the tech lock, just having that little bit of security will make it easy enough to pull both out. So I was pretty excited about this. I think this is a cool sheath. Let me know what you guys think. Maybe not the most practical EDC sheath. I'm not suggesting that this is like a must-have EDC item or some real tactical thing either. It's just cool and fun, and I really like how it came out. All right, so next we've got Tyler, and Tyler sent me his Benchmade. What is this thing? Oh geez, it doesn't have it on it. I can't remember the name of this model. I think it's like a CKB, like CKB 2.5 maybe, but it's one of Benchmade's push dagger style knives. It might be their only one actually. I don't really know. I haven't seen many of them, but this is pretty cool, and it's got a lot of the same standard attributes as the other ones, except you also have a little bit of a ring here, big handle to grip onto. And for this one, we got black basket weave. Good click going in. No rattle, no play. And rides on a tech lock. Alright, so that was Tyler. And then last we have Robert. So Robert sent me his Cold Steel Urban Edge, two-sided serrated, and a can't remember what this thing is. Boker Vox, I guess. Or I hope I'm not screwing that up. Maybe Vox is the designer. That's what it says over here, though, Vox. So we'll just call it the Boker Vox. And this thing is super stout. That's a 1/4 inch blade stock for a knife that's like 2 inches long. So anyway, this was a tough one to make a sheath for, because you see the only place it's similar to, like sorry, I thought I had one sitting right here, but it's similar to like a Bradford Guardian 3, where you have a small knife, and the front of this, where your index finger is going to be, is just a big choil with a negative contour on the handle. So the first actual contour is like, 2.5, 3 inches from the butt of the handle. So that's kind of a negative. Like when you try to, with Kydex, you'd have to mold all the way up to here over the handle to get retention on this point. And that doesn't leave you hardly anything to grip onto. I mean, literally, I can get one finger and part of a second finger on there. It's just not good. So what I ended up doing with this was just molding for retention behind this metal choil, part of the blade stock itself. And so it's a little bit funky because of the shape of this knife. When you put it in, it can go one of two ways. It kind of has a tendency to try to seat downward, but you actually want it to seat slightly up. There's a very subtle difference, but you'll feel it when you go to insert the knife. Like if it just kind of swooshes in, doesn't feel like it clicks in, then it's too low. It's still fine, you can still draw, but you really kind of want to angle that tip upward as you're putting it in, and you'll feel it more click into place. But that having been said, you got good retention, no rattle, no play, and the most important thing is that you can get your finger all the way up into that choil and draw the knife. Retention on this guy, just because of how stout it is and how short, the dimensions on it lended itself to, or did not lend themselves to a normal level of retention. I just couldn't get it to stop rattling. It wasn't a secure sheath until I tightened it up a little bit more. So unfortunately, that's one of the things with some knives like this. You just have to make a small bit of compromise. So I would not say that this is like, I mean, if you got the thumb strength to push that off, this is a really good ballistic draw. I mean, it's definitely going to go flying. But I wouldn't really consider it to be, you know, a ballistic just because it takes a lot of thumb strength to do it. So what I would recommend when you actually use this knife is when you draw it, use both the thumb ramp and a bit of pull strength with your arm, and it comes out super smooth. It's not really a big deal. So you got that, just a little bit of pull strength, and it's really smooth draw. All right, so those are the two for, oh wait, I didn't even show you. So he asked for sort of like an IWB holster clip. This is called a foamy clip, F-O-M-I. So I put a foamy clip on it, and he wanted to be able to potentially change sides and angles. So what I've done here is, if you look at it, there's a flat plate on the back of it, and it's a thick plate. It's 2 layers of 093. I put the smooth side back to back. That way, if you decided you wanted to carry this on the opposite side of the sheath, you can take it off and switch sides, and you'll still see the textured matte finish on the outside rather than the shiny smooth side that's usually the inside of Kydex. So obviously, if you're switching sides, you're going to want to take the belt clip off and put that on the opposite side of that too. And what you can't really see in here is that there are other holes drilled in it, and you'd be able to find several different angles that match up with these 2 holes on the belt clip. So you can mount this at multiple angles. I'm not really sure you necessarily want to, but the option is there. So that's kind of a cool feature. And I also decided to make that plate go up kind of high up over the handles so that it would be more of a comfortable ride height. You can change ride height as well, but right where it's at is right where I would carry it. And I just don't like having a handle up so far above my belt. I really don't like, if this belt clip was down here, you'd have like 4.5, 5 inches of handle sticking up on your side. I'm just not a fan of that. So anyway, this seems comfortable to me, and I think it came out really good. As far as the Urban Edge, you got a pretty standard sheath. He sent me a Spyderco G clip, asked me to put that on there, but this is also compatible with most IWB clips, tough clips I would call them, these guys here, and it's compatible with like Ulti clips, or at least a few of them, and a tech lock as well. So if you want to put this on a tech lock, let me just make sure I'm not talking out of my backside before I make any wild claims here. You know what? I think I'm wrong. I thought I'd made this for compatible with the tech lock as well, but I don't think it is. Alright, sorry about that. Anyway, it's got that G clip on there right now, and it's good to go. So, alright guys, those are the sheaths I got for you. If you like all these sheaths, if you like this video, hit that like button. If you like my channel, subscribe, comment down below, let me know what you think of all this stuff. Share it with your buddies, and stick around for the next one. Thanks for tuning in, guys. God bless.